Hi everybody, my name is Kanika Kush and today's video is going to be speaking about healing and why is it so important? What's the whole noise about healing and how can you get there and what is it? Why is it? So all of those things. So as always, it'll be divided into sections, but this is the intro bit. I want to give you like a little analogy so that at least you understand what healing is all about. So let me give you an analogy. Let's say you're running and you fall down and then you bruise your knee and there are deep gashes in it which require stitches. Okay, so you've hurt yourself, right? But you decide to not really you decide to kind of just let it go. It's okay, it doesn't matter. Yeah, so this is like a deep wound and it needs immediate attention, but you choose not to because you feel your body is resilient enough and it'll kind of heal on its own, which it won't, we all know that. But for some reason you feel, yeah, okay, doesn't matter, let me just put some band-aid over it for some time, wash it with Dettol or whatever and let it be. Okay, so this is like a deep wound which needed immediate action with stitches, but you chose to ignore it. Then there is another wound. While you fell down, there was a tiny scratch on maybe your ankle, okay, which you didn't even notice, but it's there. And it's kind of bothering you, but not so much, and maybe it heals on its own. Then, somewhere in your calf, there is another wound, maybe a thorn that kind of just wedged itself in your flesh. And that plus the knee, they both are hurting you. Okay, but you are choosing not to look at either. You do wash everything, but you are not really seeking any medical help. Okay, now what happens? We all know what happens, right? Every day when you will walk, the thorn will keep poking you and irritating you, right? Somebody that's talking to you will not get the most authentic response from you because the thorn is irritating you. Now, that person doesn't know that you have a thorn. Why? Because you chose to not do anything about it, right? So, you're not going to tell the whole world, and after a while, you let it go. You'll be like, I'm at work or whatever, other things are more important. But there is a certain annoyance on your face which the other person is looking at. That, okay, what happened to you, man? Like, why are you behaving like this? And then you'll be like, why are you behaving like this? Yeah, because well, the thorn is irritating you. And then let's come to the main wound, the one that you just chose happily to ignore. That makes you start like you start limping because of that. And then when somebody sees that, they'll be like, why are you limping? And you'll be like, mind your business. So you start getting rude. You don't want to answer. You don't want to take accountability that you have managed to ignore the wound. Okay. So then you start getting pissed off. Then you start becoming bitter. Then you start becoming resentful. So then you'll be like, why are you asking these questions? What is wrong with you? Why? What? I'm not limping. And even if I'm limping, how is it your business? Mind your own business. Then slowly you become that person. Yeah. Till one day your leg doesn't move. That day you choose then finally, which is sometimes a little late, to go to the doctor, who first screams at you and says, what the hell is wrong with you? Why didn't you come earlier? And then you give your 20,000 reasons and the doctor doesn't care. The doctor immediately gets down to the process of healing. Now, maybe you required only 6 stitches that day, but today you might need a proper operation where everything needs to be cut, something needs to be pulled out, whatever. I'm not getting into those details, but this is going to be more painful. But yes, you will heal after this, right? And now imagine, so whatever happened, the procedure that took place, it's been a week. Now you're finally feeling better. And now you go out and suddenly there's no pain, there's no limp, there is just a little scar which reminds you of the wound that was there once, but it's not hurting you anymore. There is no trauma. And now when somebody comes, they see a smile on your face. That, my friends, is what healing is all about. And I would really request all of you to just immediately mirror anything that is on the outside as a wound on the inside. We don't know our insides, we don't know our subconscious, and it is so big. We don't know the depths of it. We are only on the surface, the one that is on the tip, and we somehow think we are okay. None of us are okay. New things keep coming. So isn't then it a good thing that you already begin on the journey of self knowledge and self discovery, which may involve a little bit of healing and taking help from people. It will. It's not possible that any of us today are like so sorted that we don't need help. Okay, that's a lie. It's a very, very big lie. It's almost like if you go and get your blood checkup at any given point in time, everything will be 10 on 10. It's not possible. There will be something, there will be deficiencies, there may be like HB, which is high or low, or whatever, something you need to still lose 2 kilos, whatever. Nobody's in perfect health, right? Similarly, nobody is in perfect psychological health or mental health. Therefore, this video. So please get help and please get on the path of healing. You have no idea, once you come on the other side, you get to a place of being more equipped with managing your own life better. And by doing that, by the way, you are doing a very big favor to the world, because a person who is unhealed becomes poisonous, becomes toxic to everybody around them, whereas one person healing has the power of rippling effect of positivity around them. Don't, which one do you want to be? Choose, and forget doing good for the world. How about your family members? How about people that you really care for, or don't you? That's my question. That's what I'll leave you with in this section. The next section will begin on the hardcore healing, and we'll start with what is healing and why is it important to heal and how can you heal. I'll see you on the other side. Now let's go into our mental selves and our psychological selves. So just as an example, let's say that you were 4 or 5 and something happened, okay, in your life. Maybe somebody bullied you, or somebody hit you, somebody used a bad language, maybe your parents left you home alone, and although they communicated with you but you didn't understand, there could have been 20,000 misunderstandings. And that's pretty much how trauma is caused, by the way, because we all are struggling, we are all groping in the dark. It is not, some people of course would have deliberately hurt you, that causes hardcore trauma. And then some of it is very unintentional, but that still settles as trauma because you were too small to make right or wrong of it, so you just got hurt. At least in my case, that's what's happened. Okay, I mean, half the times I keep blaming a lot of people, but I realize that nobody was at fault. It is just I'm also a very highly sensitive person. So a lot of things affect me, even physically, even unspoken things, body language, a lot of things affect me. So can you imagine? I must have been like a whole like walking, talking trauma stick. Okay. So that's where trauma comes in. Trauma is not just with army veterans, by the way. It is with every human being on the planet. Just the intensity, the degree differs. Yes, that I will agree. Now, you may want to go back into your childhood and think of all the incidents that may have caused trauma and settled in your body. There is a very big subconscious that is within us that we have no access to unless we get into very deep meditation practices, and then also you only scratch the surface. Okay, now in a day to day, we are just interacting with our external surface, right? अंदर तो कोई देख ही नहीं रहा, बहुत कम लोग देख रहे. Thankfully now the population of people who are into mindfulness or looking within is increasing, but it is still too small. I mean, it is negligible, right? So my point is that there's a massive subconscious within us which acts in ways spiritually, psychologically, mentally, emotionally, that there's no formula for. It is not like math that, okay, so one trauma happened, then one hurt happened, so then 2 healing will be required. There's no formula for it. How it will go and affect is like a crisscross matrix of emotions and, sensations and memories and the way we are going to react, the manifestations, all of it. So one will need to accept this first to move to the next step, which is accepting that all of us have trauma, and our responses to the world maybe are coming out of the place of having been traumatized at one point in time. Now, how will you distinguish between your true self, truest that you are aware of? Nobody knows their truest self. We won't know because on a spiritual level, all of us are the same. We are all one. But वहाँ पहुँचने के लिए तो पूरी जिंदगी चली जाएगी. So let's not get into that right now. What I'm saying is the truest self that you're aware of, is that acting out or is some other thing acting out? What is your default mechanism to react towards certain things? So this is the knowledge. This is self-knowledge. This is the what of healing. Now, there may be times when you ask yourself, why did I behave like this? Where is this coming from? This is coming from unresolved trauma. And unresolved trauma leads to very funny, very sometimes ugly, sometimes absolutely hurtful ways of reacting to situations which other people won't. And then we get labeled. Then you'll be labeled as a person who's causing too much drama, too emotional, too sentimental, too aggressive, and 30,000 other things. Okay. And they are not wrong in labeling you. This is not about us and them. It's only about us. Okay. So let's say you get labeled over and over again. Then there are 2 ways that you're going to react. One will be you will start believing it. Please don't make that mistake. Don't make that mistake, okay? Don't believe it. The other would be that you will start defending, which most of us do. And there is also a third where you can look at it, observe it, and then do something about it, okay? So when I said that the first part of this video will be the what is healing, what healing is, that either yourself or with the help of somebody who's experienced, who's like a healthcare provider, or who's a spiritual person, spiritual guru, spiritual teacher, or anybody in that space of wellness. If that person helps you, then you slowly come out of it. And believe me, it's not easy. It is not an easy process. And yes, it also depends on the time and the intensity of the trauma that you're sharing with your healthcare provider or the mental health care provider, right? In my case, I mean, it was very tough because I think I did it all together and of decades. I wish somebody had told me earlier that maybe at the age of 10, maybe at the age of 12. But that time hota bhi nahi tha when we were small. In India, I'm talking about, not many mental health care professionals at then. But maybe when I was 17 or 20, if I would have gone to a counselor, believe me, it would have really helped me. But I've suffered intensely, and I have done things that I'm not proud of. Of course, today all that is in the past because it's been resolved. And once it gets resolved, you see a very new energy inside you, which is even more truer than what you have been. And then at least you can stand up and you somehow don't have the need to defend yourself. You just are that person. And then boundaries come in, then the word no comes in, and then the unapologetic you starts to emerge. And a lot of fun, magical things happen where you're okay. You're okay. You will manage. So that is what healing does, and that's what it means. The what is healing, that's what's healing. In a very simple line, if I were to say, then healing basically is resolving your unresolved traumas, either yourself or with the help of a professional. Why is healing important? If you can look at your own life for a second with me and maybe list down a few behaviors that are either compulsive or addictive or repeat behaviors, repeat reactions, or uncontrolled, or absolutely from a place that you can't recognize that ye kahan se aa raha hai yaar, what is this, ye kyun aaya, ऐसा हो ही नहीं सकता, that we don't have any of those, right? And for a moment, don't blame. Even if the worst has happened with you by somebody, for a moment, just for this moment, don't blame that person. Don't blame the circumstances or the person, even if it is direct, yes, they did this with me. Even then, for a moment, just hold on, hang on, okay? If you find any of these behaviors, which you will, it's not if, actually, when you find these behaviors, that is when you realize that it is your trauma that is speaking. It is your, first an incident occurs, then it affects you in a certain way. Then your composition of your mind, your cells, your body, your central nervous system, and the way your mind is made, the way your psychology is, and what you're bringing from your previous life, a lot of things then get together and create this mix of a response, okay, to that incident. Now, when that response occurs, it, again, like I told you, it depends on so many things. How will it manifest itself is what will either lead to a trauma settling or not, okay? And this event is just an event. It is how you have perceived it. That's the whole point. Now, let's say that there have been a series of events that affected you negatively, okay? And then your response was to internalize it and not talk to anybody about it, or think it's not important, let's sweep it under the carpet. Then that, but it hurt you, right? It hurt your ego, whatever. Then all of it under the carpet, वहाँ पर खिचड़ी पक रही है पूरे चीज़ों के बीच में. Now you or me or anybody for that matter cannot sit and tell you how it will come out. That nobody can decide. That tell me, so what all happened? First of all, our memory will fail us. Half the time, our memories are failing us. We are making some random assumptions from our past that this is what happened, which actually didn't. But is there a way of finding out? No, it isn't. Right? So therefore, what is your truth? Your truth is what it is in this moment, right now. That is your truth. Okay? So we need to wrap our head around this. So my point was that a lot of things happened. You shove them under the carpet. Now, how it is going to settle as trauma, that is totally beyond your control. And the worst thing is the way it will come out, either for yourself or for others or for the world or at your job or dealing with people or whatever you do for yourself, you have no control over. You have no control. And And when? That's the worst. Sometimes you're like, okay, how am I reacting? What is this? Why now? Everything was going fine. That's my point. Therefore, to avoid all of that, it is a good idea that, let's say you've been through something recently, immediately go and meet a counselor, meet a psychologist, meet a psychiatrist if you have to, or just meet a coach, or a guide, a friend, or you do it yourself. If you feel that you're capable enough, then please do it yourself. But my point is, please acknowledge that something has happened and deal. Do not make things that are not so necessary more important than what you feel, right? Things like, nahi, but oh, I have work to do, but that deadline is at that deadline. That's okay. I mean, there are ways to figure this out. Just take out some time to deal. Let's say if a trauma has occurred, because trauma that goes unresolved and unacknowledged and unaccepted for years is going to come out in the ugliest forms. You can just note this down. You have my word. It's going to come out in ways that you will never be able to predict. And the worst is that it comes out with people you love the most. That's the worst, because you are most yourself. You don't act in front of them, right? Now, my question is, this is the why. Do you want that? I mean, you've not worked on yourself, and therefore one day it comes out on people that you thought you really loved. It could be your partner, it could be your child, it could be your parents, your friends, your acquaintances that you like hanging out with. It comes out there. And then you feel really bad about yourself that, oh my God, what did I just do? And then you're forced to get into the healing process. So that's pretty much my story. I mean, that's just how it is. I will accept it. And today I'm better off for it. Thankfully, I've had a sensitive, mind. So although the sensitivity used to hurt me a lot, but at the same time, I've always also been sensitive for to others. Therefore, I have felt a lot of love also coming from people, but I could never feel it in my way. So that my point is that it came out very differently. So I was not a bitter person. I've never been a bitter person. Okay, because of maybe sensitivity that was possibly my enemy for the longest time. Actually, was helping me. I thought it was my enemy, but actually it was helping me. Similarly, you might have a superpower. Okay, so if you find yourself getting bitter, resentful, or full of contempt, then please drop everything and go into healing sessions. Okay, and the practitioner who will heal you will understand where you're coming from and prescribe like a timeline, okay, to do it. Just trust that person, please. Obviously, do your research before you choose who you want to go with. But once you're in, then be fully in. Then don't bring doubt, because doubt is the biggest enemy of healing. That is why healing is important. I think it's important mostly for ourselves that, we learn to love ourselves the way we are and accept ourselves truly and honestly, and just with a lot of love. And when that love for self comes, then it's somehow very easy to spread love all around, and isn't that how the world should be? So that is why healing is important. This bit is a tricky one because the how can be in numerous ways. But then again, you need to know who you are first. How do you know who you are? A quick check would be just to maybe, give yourself a week or so to see what all are the methods of healing, which of course I will tell you also right now, and which one of it is making sense to you. Okay, then try that. Okay, did it help? And obviously it's a long process. If it does not help, then move to the next, then move to the next. But all that said and done, you're still moving ahead in the journey of healing. So don't feel disappointed or disheartened. The day that you accept that I want to heal, that day itself the journey has begun. Okay, so some of the things that I resorted to when I felt, first of all, I didn't even know that I needed healing, but I knew something was off. Okay, I didn't know these words. I was like, something's off in me. Something's off. I used to feel empty. I used to feel a feeling of nothingness. Then there was a lot of resentment. And there was a lack of feeling love from anybody, Maybe there was a sheath of numbness that, yeah, okay, I know you love me. I know you're saying you love me, but I don't feel it. So that's when I realized, dude, something's not okay. And that's when I kind of began. So I began with meditation first, and now it'll be almost 5 years of meditating very regularly. I mean, I've never stopped since then. So meditation is wise. So the first would be meditation. And again, a lot of people will prescribe different methods of meditation. I think let's keep it simple. I think even starting with just 2 to 3 minutes sitting in silence every day, regardless of how many thoughts come to you, is good enough. For starters, just sit with yourself for 2 to 3 minutes every day and keep on gradually increasing it. Meditation has a lot, I mean, it's very misunderstood. Meditation has a lot of things, like there's lots. Let me not, I'll devote another video to meditation and how we can all start, and how which part of the journey am I on, and what are the challenges that I face. But this is more about just sitting with yourself. Just sit quietly for 2 to 3 minutes every day. If you feel that, okay, I am okay, but I need a little help. So that should be good enough. Then the next thing is writing. I keep harping on this so much. If every day, let's say you're in a place where you feel I need help, but you're still not ready to go to a practitioner or a mental health care provider, then what you can do is that you can start writing every day. What will you write? Whatever comes to your mind, just write. Then suddenly you'll see that as you start writing, memories start coming. Don't attach anything to the memory, just write it down. Write what you felt like doing. Then what happens? Let's say there was a person who misbehaved with you. How will you react with that person today? And then when tomorrow comes, then go read what did you write yesterday. Do you still relate with it? If you do, then okay, fine. So there's a pattern. There'll be patterns that will be created over weeks and months. So when I say this very often, that our minds, they have thoughts which are millions, right? Yet we have repetitive thoughts. Now the best way for any repetitive stuff which is not helping you, for it to get out of your brain, is to write it down. The moment you write it down, you halt the cycle of incessant thoughts. You do, and then new thoughts come in, okay, and then they start the whole thing. But the point is, why are you still stuck in the past of thoughts? That time has gone, the event has happened, that person who did whatever has long gone, and you also kind of recovered. But the thoughts are what are keeping that memory alive. And because of the thoughts, the whole, your entire hormonal system and your entire central nervous system is still getting affected. Therefore the trauma is alive, and therefore you are reacting in a certain way, which is why you need healing. Okay, so let's say again, if it is not a very high intensity and you feel the need for healing, then this could be number 2 after meditation. And just one thing, I did mention meditation. That meditation, let me change the word, sitting in silence, because meditation, when done properly, is actually the highest way of healing. But in this case, what I meant by meditation was sitting in silence. Okay, so number 1, sitting in silence. Number 2, writing it down. Number 3, talk to a friend, talk to somebody, tell them that, yeah, I think this memory has come up, or this is something that has happened. What do I do? A friend, by friend, I mean not somebody who's going to immediately pounce into giving you unnecessary, unsolicited bullshit advice. No. A person who just sits quietly, and let's say you're crying, then that person just sits there and lends a shoulder and only speaks when spoken to. That friend, which most of us have or don't, I don't know. I have only one. But I hope that you have one who can just quietly listen to you. I can be that for you, by the way. I feel I'm a very good listener if anybody needs, but you'll have to tell me in advance that you're going to be unloading. So only then can I actually listen, but I'll be happy to. I do that. That's one of my superpowers as well, by the way. So, but find somebody, okay? So once you open your heart out to somebody, first up, it kind of comes out and you give it shape. So you see, okay, oh my God, this has been inside me for so long. Then maybe you'll feel feelings of confusion or a very terrifying reaction or something else. Write it down again, or at least record it somehow, or tell somebody. So this is how you progress. So first was sitting with yourself, second is writing it down, third is talking to a friend, the fourth is talking to yourself. This is also, by the way, I do all. The fourth, talking to yourself, is talking back. So what I do is I have a recorder and I keep recording my feelings, that this is what happened, and then that is what happened, and this is how I felt, and oh my God, like that. I'll keep saying it. And then when I play it back to myself, then obviously there's a distance that has come between the machine and myself. So that itself allows me to gain perspective. It does. And then I understand, okay, what would I do in this person's place? Because you are immediately detached from the person who's speaking. So because it's become physical in a way, sound. So that is another good way of starting on the process of healing. Now these are all self-prescribed. Okay, so I will stop here. The fifth is seeking help. Just, ideally it should be the first, but there are a lot of people, in fact most people I know, are so resistant to go and meet somebody. I don't know why. I think this is the biggest disease of our times, where people are just not getting up and going to talk to somebody. I don't understand it, and I just don't. I don't. So that's why I'm saying, okay, pehle aap khud kar lo, and then maybe you go meet a counselor or somebody. So the fifth is to go meet somebody and let them know that this is what I need. And if they're worth their salt, they will tell you whether they can help you, or they will, refer you to somebody else who's a little more experienced. So yes, in that I would ask you definitely to do your due diligence. And once you have circled somebody that this is the person that I'm going to be, getting better with, then I would suggest to not question anything. Okay, just go ahead and do whatever that person tells you to, because you will come out better. I had somebody, who, oh, he helped me like nobody else could, and yes, it was the culmination of my journey of untraumatizing myself and healing myself. Yes, everything is planned. Somehow when you look back, it was going to happen that day. Yet I have so much gratitude for that person, because somehow it clicked. I had been to, I don't know, at least a dozen counselors before that, and tried, I don't know, everything under the table. But then again, I cannot disregard what I did, because all of that led me to this person. That's my point. Even if you take one step today, you are still going towards your healing journey. That's my whole point. So, coming back, go and meet a person, and then just kind of surrender. Yeah, that's it. And yes, I will just add, I'm not saying that you should do this, but what helped me was my Vipassana meditation. I mean, that was somewhere midway. It was in 2022. I'd already started meditating in 2019, and stuff had started to come out, and lot of stuff. And I was like, what's going on? Yeah, what is going on? So yeah, it's been 5 whole years now. It'll cross 5 years plus, where I've just been struggling. And then finally, like I said, when first I was struggling, something came to the surface, some things came to the surface, and then I realized a lot of things. I started to look at myself from a very different perspective, and then I saw that I was unable to control my reactions, my responses, even though I started meditating, because somehow I felt initially that, oh my god, meditation is going to sort out all my issues, which it doesn't. It just brings them to the surface, and then it gives you the opportunity to deal with things on your own, which is amazing. It enables you. Okay, so I started with meditation, started to write a lot, started to draw a lot, started to walk a lot, and got into different types of physical activities. And then Vipassana came, and what Vipassana did for me is something amazing. I mean, it basically introduced me to my demons. And when I say demons, they are the trauma that was inside. And the demons, they actually had faces. Now those faces were formed because I'm an artist, and I have a very deep sense of imagination, and also with whatever I may have seen, whatever scares me, in horror movies or whatever. So it took that shape, and it scared the bejesus out of me, right? And all of it started to then come out. It has to. Once you start healing, first shit will come out. Just take this as like, patthar ka lakir, that once you start healing, don't consider it like, wow, I'm going to feel so awesome. You will feel awesome after you feel really bad. And that means it's working, because it did for me. Though my worst versions came out, and today I know that I'm on the other side. So then begins my new life, where now, whenever anything happens, at least I'll know, okay, fine. At least now I have the tools to manage this. How do I manage it? At least now I understand. And even if I don't, then at least I know I can go to somebody. So this is not to say that you're not going to feel bad or hurt or be broken or be pained or, completely torn apart. All of it will happen. It's just that now you'll be able to deal better. So deal better, I guess, to heal better and feel better. Oh, this was fun. No, the last bit I just made it up. So I hope this helps everybody. And just to let you know that I am a counselor, and I feel I'm inherently a healer. There are enough people that have told me that. So I would like to take it up. If any of you wants to get in touch with me, then this is my email ID. Obviously there's no set pattern that आपके साथ ये करना है, आपके साथ ये करना है. I'm not a practitioner. If your trauma needs to be resolved, I still don't have the wherewithal to do that. But let's say you just want to listen, and you want a listen from me, you just want to like unload or get basic guidance, then I can help you professionally. Do get in touch with me. And yeah, please write anything else that you feel like in the comment section, and have a nice day. Bye.